global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Global Happiness today. Yes, Mazen Namdekan will be going through series and series of illegal actions. A lot of people thought that yesterday would have been the final verdict that would have probably given him a bail that would set him free. Of course, we woke up with the root shock that it has been postponed due to some logistics made by Binta Inyako, the justice involved in that case. But right now, the family members haven't seen what is going on, and the fact that their illustrious son has been there for several months and may likely be there in a long time to come due to the delay and tactics movement that is ongoing, have decided to make this move finally to set him free. In a moment, you're going to find out what it is the family have in stock in favor of their illustrious son, Mazen Namdekan, and to the detriment of the federal government of Nigeria. But before we do so, we'd like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, according to the news, the family of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazen Namdekan, has instituted a legal action against the United Kingdom Foreign Secretary, the retired, that's Right Honorable Liz Truss, MB, challenging her failures to acknowledge that the IPOB leader, that's Mazen Namdekan, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a UK citizen, has been a victim of extraordinary rendition and illegal detention. Kano's family, in a suit by her counsel, Shireen Maka, solicitor at Bidmat LLP, wants the court to lawfully determine what further steps the UK government should be taking to assist him given gross violation of his human rights. The family accused the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of abdication of its responsibility to acknowledge and respond to Kano's extraordinary rendition. The law firm representing the family, Bitman LLP, has sent a pre-action letter on behalf of the family to Foreign Secretary the Right Honorable Liz Truss, MB, challenging her failure to acknowledge that Kano has been subjected to extraordinary rendition and torture. The case raised important points of principle, not only in relation to extraordinary rendition, but on the legal duties the United Kingdom has when its citizens' human rights are abused abroad, the lawyer said. Kano was renditioned from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021 and has remained in detention since then while facing treason charge preferred against him by the federal government of Nigeria. The federal government has denied that Kano was renditioned, claiming he was intercepted in Kenya with the help of security agencies. British High Commission officials have been permitted to visit Mr. Kano on just 2 occasions. The law firm in the suit contends that there is compelling evidence that Kano was renditioned, adding that neither Nigeria nor Kenya has provided any credible evidence to suggest otherwise. The right to liberty and security of the person and freedom from arbitrary arrest or detention have been described by the United Nations as deeply entrenched in human rights norms. Extraordinary rendition is a fundamental contravention of these principles and a serious breach of international law. The English courts have considered the question of UK's obligations to British citizens who have been extraordinarily rendered in the case of Abbasi versus Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs 2002, EWCA Equal versus Equal CIV 1598. There, the Court of Appeal stressed that in order to properly consider whether to make diplomatic representations or take more serious actions to protect a British citizen's interest, the Foreign Secretary must start by reaching a clear view on whether its citizen has suffered a denial of justice as a result of a violation of their rights and freedoms as guaranteed by international law. In Mr. Kano's case, the Foreign Secretary has been unwilling to reach a view on whether he has been subject to extraordinary rendition in spite of evidence submitted to her officials over 10 months that have passed since he was taken to Nigeria. Her refusal to form a view on Mr. Kano's rendition means she cannot have taken into account all relevant factors nor have lawfully exercised her discretion in considering what further steps to take in respect of Mr. Kano's rendition. It has now been clearly a year since Mr. Khan was subject to extraordinary rendition. Since then, he has been detained in solitary confinement in a cell 6 by 6 feet for nearly 24 hours a day. To date, the United Kingdom's diplomatic efforts have had very little effect. UK officials have only been able to visit Mr. Kano twice whilst in detention. His conditions of detention have not changed since that visit, and no other progress has been made. Most remarkably, the Foreign Secretary has been unwilling to reach a conclusion on whether Mr. Kano has been subject to extraordinary rendition or not, despite all the evidence showing he was. That matters because she cannot make a proper decision on how to respond what has happened without deciding precisely what she's responding to. Mr. Kano's family, who brings this challenge, urge her to take a decisive stand on his extraordinary rendition so that she can properly consider what further steps should be taken to assist him in the light of this egregious breach of international law. Adding his voice, Kano's brother Kingsley Kano said, "With every day that passes, I'm increasingly concerned for my brother's welfare in detention and increasingly frustrated by the United Kingdom's government's ineffectiveness in assisting him. I hope the court will rule the Foreign Secretary must recognize the seriousness of my brother's situation and properly consider what other steps she can take to assist him in the light of his extraordinary rendition." Nigerians are shocked over the stand. A lot of people are wondering, is that the final step? But then again, they are actually coming against the secretary, hoping that she needs to make that bold step. If she doesn't, well, I guess even the United Kingdom may not really act because they have their representative, and she is in the right position to give them the overview of the exact situation of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's status. But if she doesn't, I guess there will always be that lukewarmness. Nigerians have been reacting. We're going to take like 2 or 3 and we'll wrap this up very quickly. This one here is saying, "Right move, but UK is more bad. How did you know that?" Let's continue. This other person here saying, on this don't believe on these white guys. They were after what they can benefit in your country, like crude oil. These are American derived. This how America deceived Abiola when they finally arrest him. Nothing happened. Who says? Another person here says, "Brother, you're a well-informed person. That's well-educated fellow." Okay. Another person here is saying, "You forgot to train your son properly, leaving him to become a nuisance to the society." I can assure you the last commentator is an anti-Nnamdi Kanu supporter. Let's fit in our conversation also take. Do have a nice time.